Y'all, I'm seeing so many people talk about how they're burned out on React and how they're burned out on Next. I'm seeing it from a lot of the users of these frameworks, and I'm seeing it from the creators of these frameworks as well. And this is bad. This sucks. We don't want people in our industry to burn out so hard, especially not all at the same time. Something is going on. Something is going on, and I think I may have an idea what it is. I'm not a part of the React community, so I'm watching this all from the outside and I'm thinking, yeah, I know why you're burned out. And I think that the users and the creators are burned out for basically the same reason, but maybe a little bit different angle. And that reason is the hype cycle. The hype cycle is like an actual studied concept. It's not just something that we talk about. Gartner has this whole write-up on it, so you know that it's very official if Gartner's doing a write-up on it. But basically, it's got these 5 different phases. It's got the trigger, which is where the thing is released. It comes out. Then the peak of inflated expectations, which you know we're going to talk about. The trough of disillusionment, where it's like, wait a second, this is not meeting all of those expectations I had. Then the tough slope of enlightenment, where you actually start to learn, what is this tool useful for? You start to wrap your head around the actual use cases, bugs start to fix, the tool gets matured, and then you have this long, happy productivity plateau, where you understand what the tool does, the tool has matured, and you can just use it to be productive. This is the hype cycle. What does this have to do with burnout? It has everything to do with burnout. My estimation, my guess, my read on the subject is that this is the standard hype cycle curve. Sure, Gartner made it up. Who cares? This is the JavaScript hype cycle curve. Do you see that the peak of inflated expectations is twice as high on the JavaScript curve as it is on the regular curve? I think the hype is incredibly strong in the JavaScript community, maybe specifically the React and Next communities, but in the JavaScript community, the hype is incredibly strong and it leads to this kind of peak of inflated expectations. I think there are 2 reasons that the hype is so strong. One, it's a huge community of very online, very vocal people advocating for the things that they like. That's great. I love that. That is totally speaking my language. I am never going to say that you shouldn't advocate for the things you like. We'll talk in the solutions section about maybe some things we could tweak, but I'm not going to say that you should not talk about the things you like. What are we doing if we're not talking about the things we like? Great. Huge community, vocal, online. The other thing is there are huge companies with lots of money pumping that hype cycle. And I can't even really make a value judgment here because companies do marketing. Like, that's not a surprise. Companies pump money into marketing, and Next is a marketing channel for a big company. And so I think all of this money flowing into this JavaScript ecosystem is pumping that peak of inflated expectations higher and higher and higher. Every release is a game changer. Every release is the shiny new thing, the way it always should have been done, regardless of how it's been done. This is the way that it should be done. They do big conferences and they do big shiny releases and they hire the smartest people in the industry. Pumping that peak up means that the fall is going to be pretty precipitous, right? You're going to fall from a much higher spot because the hype was so intense. You still fall back to the trough of disillusionment. And then you have to work your way up the slope of enlightenment. But that fall, the distance of that fall is so much higher. And that is a huge blow to morale when you're seeing everyone. You're seeing the big companies, the influencers, all the money talking about this is the new thing. And then you try the new thing and you're like, wait, I don't know if this is great yet. Like this isn't super stable and I'm having a lot of issues. That fall down to the trough of disillusionment is pretty far. So maybe that peak shouldn't be so high because it makes the fall a lot more painful, but presumably you get to climb the slope of enlightenment out to the blissful productivity plateau and everything will be fine regardless of how high the peak was, right? Here's my second stipulation. My second guess, my second observation is not only has the peak, the amplitude gotten higher, the frequency has gotten so much higher too. So before you can climb that slope of enlightenment, boom, another peak of inflated expectations comes along to save you, to get you excited, to pull you out of that trough of despair. And then guess what? Trough of despair again. But boom, here comes another one. Here comes another peak of inflated expectations. It's app router, it's server components, it's server actions, which are somehow different. It's client components, async components, streaming, suspense, turbopacked, file-based routing, and y'all, I think people are just tired. I think people are just tired. There are so many peaks of inflated expectation followed by troughs of disillusionment, immediately followed by peaks of inflated expectations, followed by troughs of disillusionment. How could you not be tired? So I think this is what is leading to the burnout on the user side, is they're just saying, that's a lot. I can't do that anymore. And I can't really blame them. Some people are able to ignore it all, but it's really hard when people are telling you, you must be using this new thing, right? You must be using this new thing. The thing that you were doing, that's the old way. I can't believe you're doing it that way anymore. And you do this enough times and it gets really tiring. What's causing the creator burnout? If the users are burning out from this whiplash of inflated expectations meeting cold, hard reality of implementation, that trough of disillusionment. That's what's burning out the users. What's burning out the creators? And I think what's burning out the creators is the burned out users. Imagine pouring yourself into this framework as a creator. Imagine pouring yourself into a project and then going online and everybody being burned out and mad about it. How could that not lead to burnout? How would you ever expect a creator to not be super duper bummed out if they go online and everything they see from their users is, this sucks, this is incomplete, I can't believe y'all released this. What do we expect? Of course they're burned out. So what's the solution? I don't know. I have no idea. Who am I to say? I can't change an entire industry. I'm just some guy in a 9x9 room recording a video. Who am I to say? I do have some opinions on what the individual can do. I don't know how to change the industry. I don't know how to lower the peak of inflated expectation and lengthen the frequency of that trough of disillusionment. I don't know how to do that. Here's what I will say. If you enjoy doing all of this, if you enjoy keeping up with the bleeding edge, and if you enjoy implementing everything new as it comes out and dealing with that pain, great. Carry on, my friend. We need you. We need you to be out there figuring out the bugs so that the laggards can come in a little bit later and reap all the benefits. For the rest of us, pick something that is out on that plateau of productivity. Don't pick something that is currently in its hype cycle. If you pick something that is currently in its hype cycle, it's going to be real exciting, and there will be a trough of disillusionment, and maybe there's going to be another hype cycle and another trough of disillusionment, and so on and so forth. Pick something where the hype cycle is over and people are just kind of quietly shipping product with it. There are a lot of these tools. There are a ton of these tools. On the back end, there's Laravel, Rails, Django, Adonis is a JavaScript one. There are a lot of back-end frameworks where the hype cycle is kind of over, but people all over the world are just using it to ship products. On the front end, these things also exist. There are tools that are past their hype cycle and are just quietly plodding along in productivity. There's Vue.js, which is wonderful and I love dearly. There's also React without anything new. And I think that's the second thing I would say is maybe put yourself on a year delay. Maybe you don't use anything until it's been out for a year. So anything new that comes out, you can look at and admire and have fun reading about, but don't use it until it's been at least out for a year. That's gonna let you pass all of that pain and let other people who maybe really enjoy it, let other people climb that slope of enlightenment, and you get to come in at the very end and be productive. That's pretty awesome. My final suggestion, just log off, baby. Hit the bricks, walk out. You don't have to pay attention to any of this. You don't have to watch YouTubers tell you what to do. You don't have to log on to Twitter and have people yell in your face all day long. You can just log off. And honestly, you might be happier than the rest of us if you do. See ya.